Commander Dae-ho Kim stood at the large window of the space station, watching ships come and go. The view never got old. Ships from dozens of different worlds moved through space like bright stars. Some looked like giant metal fish. Others were shaped like long needles. The human ships looked simple next to them. Just basic metal boxes with engines. Dae-ho had been working on this station for 3 years now. His job was to speak for humans when alien governments had problems with Earth, or its colonies. Most of the time, the problems were small. Someone broke trade rules. A human ship went where it should not go. Nothing serious. Today felt different. The communication device on his desk made a soft sound. A message was waiting. Dae-ho walked over and pressed the button. The screen showed words in the common galactic language. Emergency Council meeting. All species representatives required. Urgent matter concerning human activities. Dae-ho looked at the message again. Human activities? What had humans done now? He grabbed his jacket and walked toward the meeting room. The hallways were busier than usual. Aliens from many different species were moving quickly, talking in low voices. The meeting room was huge. Representatives from 12 different alien species sat at a curved table. The Vreks were there, tall, gray beings with 4 arms. The Keth looked like giant insects, with shiny black skin. The Morlans had blue fur and big eyes. All of them were looking at Dae-ho as he walked in. "Ah, the human arrives," said Zektor, the Vreks leader. His voice was cold. "Please, sit down." Dae-ho took his seat. The chair was too big for him. Most things in the galaxy were built for beings larger than humans. "What is this meeting about?" "Your species," said Vel 9, a Keth representative. Her voice made a clicking sound when she talked. "We have been watching human expansion. You are growing too fast, taking too many worlds." "We follow all the rules," Dae-ho said. "Every human colony has proper permits. Rules can change," Zektor replied. "The galaxy needs balance." The other aliens nodded. Dae-ho felt something cold in his stomach. This was not about broken rules. This was about something much worse. On the other side of the galaxy, Dr. So-Min Park was having her own strange day. She was working in the underground ruins on Mars. These ruins were old, older than human space travel. That was impossible, but the evidence was clear. So-Min brushed dust from a metal wall. The metal was not like anything humans made. It was stronger than steel but lighter than air. Strange symbols were carved into its surface. She had been studying these symbols for months, but they made no sense. Today, something was different. The symbols were glowing. So-Min dropped her brush. The glow was very soft, like moonlight on water. She had never seen them do this before. She pulled out her scanner and pointed it at the wall. The device made excited, beeping sounds. "Energy. Reading detected," the scanner said in its flat voice. "Unknown energy type. Power level increasing." So-Min backed away from the wall. The glow was getting brighter. Other walls around the room began to glow too. Soon the whole chamber was filled with soft light. She ran toward the exit, calling her team on her radio. "Everyone out. Something is happening in Section 7. Her team met her at the surface. They all looked down at the entrance to the ruins. Light was coming up from deep underground. The light was getting brighter every minute. "What did you do down there?" asked her assistant, Hyunwoo. "Nothing. I was just cleaning the walls like always." Then they started glowing. The team stood in silence, watching the light grow stronger. So-Min had studied ancient alien ruins for 10 years. She had never seen anything like this. Meanwhile, Captain Jinwoo Lee was dealing with his own mystery. His ship, the New Soul, was on a mission to study empty space between star systems. It was boring work, but someone had to map the dark areas of the galaxy. Jinwoo was drinking coffee in his captain's chair when his sensor officer called out, "Captain, I'm seeing something strange on the long-range scanners." "What kind of strange?" Jinwoo asked. "There are objects out there. Big ones. They were not there yesterday." Jinwoo walked over to the sensor station. The officer, Miran, pointed at her screen. Dots of light showed the positions of large objects floating in empty space. "How big?" Jinwoo asked. Each one is about the size of a small moon. Jinwoo felt his coffee cup slip from his hand. It hit the floor and broke, spilling hot coffee everywhere. Objects the size of moons did not just appear overnight. Are they ships? I don't think so. They're not moving. They're just there. And Captain, there are hundreds of them. Jinwoo looked at the display again. The objects formed a rough circle around human space. It was like they were watching. Waiting. Set course for the nearest object, he ordered. We need to see what we're dealing with. Back on the space station, the meeting was getting worse. Daeho listened as the alien representatives talked about the human problem. They used nice words, but their meaning was clear. They wanted to stop human expansion, by force if needed. The human species has existed in space for only 200 years, said Zektor. Yet you act like you own the galaxy. This must end. We have never threatened anyone, Daeho said. We trade fairly. We follow all laws. Your existence is the threat, Vel9 clicked. Humans breed too fast. You spread too quickly. In a few hundred years, you will outnumber all other species combined. Daeho wanted to argue, but he knew they were not wrong. Humans did expand quickly. They had children faster than most alien species. They were good at living on different types of worlds. What are you suggesting? He asked. The aliens looked at each other. Some kind of silent communication passed between them. Population limits, Zektor said finally. Humans will be restricted to your current worlds. No new colonies, no more expansion. And if we refuse, then we will enforce the restrictions ourselves. Daeho felt the room grow cold. This was a threat. A promise of war if humans did not agree to be prisoners in their own small corner of space. The meeting ended with no agreement. Daeho was given 1 week to bring the proposal to Earth's government. 1 week to convince humanity to accept limits on their growth or face the consequences. As he walked back to his office, Daeho's communication device beeped again. This message was from Earth, from his sister who worked for the military. Strange things happening, the message said. Old installations on Earth and Luna are powering up. Nobody knows why. Government is scared. They're calling you home. Daeho stopped walking. Old installations? What old installations? Humans had only been in space for 2 centuries. What could be old enough to worry the government? He looked out the window again at the busy space lanes. The alien ships looked less friendly now, more dangerous. Like wolves circling sheep. Something was happening, something that connected the glowing ruins on Mars, the mysterious objects in deep space, and the alien threats against humanity. Daeho did not know what it was, but he could feel it in his bones. The galaxy was about to change, and somehow humanity was at the center of it all. Admiral Hyojin Choi stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the enemy fleet approach. The Vrex had sent 50 warships toward Earth. Each ship was 3 times larger than anything in the human fleet. Their weapons could destroy a city with 1 shot. Ma'am, said her tactical officer, the Vrex fleet will be in firing range in 2 hours. Hyojin nodded. The human fleet had only 20 ships. Good ships, but small. They were built for exploring, not fighting wars. Everyone knew this would not end well for humanity. Any word from the peace talks, she asked. No, ma'am. The aliens are not responding to our messages. Hyojin closed her eyes. Her parents had fled from Earth during the last Great War. They always told her that humans were survivors, that they found ways to win when everything looked hopeless. She wished she could believe that now. A new voice spoke from behind her. Admiral, you have a message on the secure channel. She turned around. Her communication officer looked confused. What secure channel? I don't know, ma'am. It just appeared on my screen. The system says you have command clearance. Hyojin walked to the communication station. She had never heard of any secure channel. She certainly did not have clearance codes she did not know about. The screen showed a simple message. Defense Protocol Omega, ready for activation, awaiting commander authorization. What is Defense Protocol Omega? She asked. No one on the bridge knew. The message continued to wait for her response. Hyojin felt something strange, like a memory that was not her own. Images flashed in her mind. massive structures floating in space, weapons that could move planets, a voice that sounded like her own but older, saying words she had never spoken. Without knowing why, she spoke. Authorization code Phoenix 77. Activate Defense Protocol Omega. The bridge went silent. Everyone was looking at her. She did not know where those words had come from. Then space around Earth began to change. It started as ripples like waves on water. The ripples grew larger. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist. Then something huge pushed through from somewhere else. The structure that appeared was impossible. It was larger than Earth's moon, but it moved like it weighed nothing. The surface was made of the same strange metal that Dr. So-Min had found on Mars. Patterns of light flowed across its hull like rivers of stars. "What is that thing?" someone whispered. More structures appeared. They came out of the twisted space around every human world. Earth had 5 of them. Mars had 3. Even the smallest human colonies had at least 1. Ye Jin's communication officer was staring at his screen. "Ma'am, we're getting signals from all the structures. They're speaking to us." "Put it on the main screen." A voice filled the bridge. It was calm and powerful. It spoke in every human language at the same time. "Greetings, children of humanity. The ancient guardians have awakened. Your species is under protection. Any hostile forces will be removed." On the other side of the solar system, engineer Tae-Young Seo was having the strangest day of his life. He worked at a maintenance station on one of Jupiter's moons. His job was simple: fix things when they broke. Today, everything was breaking, or maybe everything was waking up. It started when the old generators began working again. These generators had been broken for 50 years. The parts to fix them did not exist anymore, but this morning, they were running perfectly. Then the sealed doors opened. These doors led to sections of the station that had been closed since it was built. Nobody knew what was behind them. The original builders said they were just storage areas. Tae-Young found himself walking through these new sections. He did not remember deciding to go there. His feet just carried him forward. The rooms behind the doors were not storage areas. They were control centers. Walls covered with screens and buttons and devices that hummed with power. Everything was labeled in human writing, but the technology was unlike anything humans had ever built. Tae-Young sat down at one of the control stations. The moment his hands touched the controls, information flooded his mind. He suddenly knew how everything worked. He understood systems that had been built thousands of years before humans left Earth. His fingers moved across the controls without his conscious thought. Screens lit up showing space around Jupiter. Other screens showed human colonies throughout the galaxy, and everywhere the massive guardian structures were taking positions. "Status report," he said, not knowing why. A pleasant voice answered. "All guardian stations are online. Defense network at full power. Human colonies are secure." Tae-Young blinked. "Who are you?" "I am the Jupiter Defense AI. I have been waiting for humanity to be ready. You have been ready for some time, but the awakening protocol required an external threat." "External threat?" "The Virex fleet approaching Earth, and the Keth forces moving toward the Centauri colonies, and the Morlan ships heading for Mars. All hostile forces are being cataloged. On Earth, scientist Do-Hyun Kang was trying to understand what his instruments were telling him. The massive structures around Earth were putting out energy readings that broke his equipment. The numbers were too big for his computers to handle. "This is impossible," he muttered, adjusting his sensors for the 10th time. His assistant, Young Mi, looked over his shoulder. "What are those things drawing power from?" Do-Hyun pointed at his screen. "According to this, they're tapped directly into the sun. But not just our sun. They're drawing power from every star within 50 light years. That's impossible." "Yes. But they're doing it anyway." Young Mi ran new calculations. "Sir, if these readings are correct, each structure has more power than our entire civilization uses in a year." Do-Hyun sat back in his chair. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. When they found other species, they felt small and young. The aliens had technology and knowledge that humans could not match. But these structures were different. They were not alien technology. They were somehow connected to humanity, and they were more advanced than anything the aliens had ever built. "Run a deep scan on the metal composition," he told young me. The results came back quickly. The metal was made of elements that did not exist on Earth, elements that could only be created in the hearts of dying stars. But the structures were old, very old. Carbon dating shows these were built at least 50,000 years ago, young me said, quietly. Du Yun felt his world turn upside down. 50,000 years ago, humans were living in caves. They were barely using fire. They certainly were not building space stations that could drain power from stars. Unless, what if humans are older than we think? He asked. The Vrex fleet was still approaching Earth when the Guardian structures sent their first message to the aliens. It was simple and clear. You are approaching protected space. Turn back immediately or face the consequences. The Vrex commander, Zektor, was furious. What kind of human trick is this? Those structures were not there yesterday. His tactical officer checked the sensors again. Sir, the energy readings from those things, they're off the scale. Each one has the power of a small star. Impossible. Humans barely have spaceflight. They cannot build weapons like that. Sir, they're powering weapons. Very big weapons. Zektor looked at the display showing the 5 Guardian structures around Earth. They did not look threatening. They just floated in space like metallic moons. But his sensors told a different story. Each structure contained enough firepower to destroy his entire fleet. Send a message to the Hegemony Council, he ordered. Tell them we have found something unexpected. The reply came quickly. Proceed with the attack. Human tricks will not save them. Zektor did not like the order, but he had to obey. He gave Awaim the command to advance. The Guardian structures responded immediately. They did not fire weapons. They did something worse. Space around the Vrex fleet began to change. It twisted and folded like paper. The alien ships found themselves scattered across the solar system. Some were thrown toward the outer planets. Others were pushed far from Earth, closer to the sun. Not one shot had been fired. The structures had simply moved the enemy fleet away from Earth like sweeping dust from a table. On the bridge of his ship, Admiral Haijin watched the Vrex fleet disappear from her sensors. "Ma'am," her tactical officer said in a shaky voice, "the enemy ships are gone. All of them. They're scattered throughout the system." The voice from the Guardian structure spoke again. "Hostile forces have been relocated to safe distances. No harm has come to any beings." This was a demonstration of defensive capability. Yejin sat down heavily. A demonstration? Affirmative. Full defensive measures would have been much more permanent. Around the galaxy, similar events were happening at every human colony. Enemy fleets found themselves moved away from their targets. Their weapons would not work. Their ships were trapped in bubbles of twisted space. The galaxy was learning something new about humanity. Something that would change everything. Humans were not the young, weak species everyone thought they were. They were something else entirely. Something old and powerful that had been sleeping for a very long time. And now they were awake. Historian Mi Young-oh had spent her whole life studying human history. She thought she knew everything about where humans came from. Today, she learned that everything she knew was wrong. The call came at 3 in the morning. Earth's government wanted her to look at some very old documents that had been hidden in secret vaults for centuries, documents that no one was supposed to see. Mi Young dressed quickly and drove to the government building. Security guards checked her identification 3 times before letting her into the basement. The basement had levels she never knew existed. "Doctor." "Oh," said the government official waiting for her. "I'm Director Han Sol. We need your help with something important." He led her through hallways lined with thick metal doors. Each door had warning signs in multiple languages. They stopped at a door marked with symbols she had never seen before. "What's behind this door?" she asked. "The real history of humanity," Director Han Sol replied. "The history we were told to forget." The room beyond the door was filled with artifacts, Stone tablets covered with ancient writing, metal objects that seemed to glow with their own light, and books, thousands of books written in languages that looked almost human, but different. Where did all this come from? Mi Young asked. We found these things when we first built cities. We found them when we dug mines. We found them everywhere humans lived. For thousands of years, we collected them and hid them away. Mi Young walked to the nearest table. A stone tablet lay there covered with symbols that made her head hurt to look at. But somehow she could read them. This says humans came from the stars 50,000 years ago. Keep reading. The tablet told an impossible story. Humans had not evolved on Earth. They came from somewhere else. They had built a great empire that covered the whole galaxy. But something went wrong. A war, or a disaster. The empire fell. The survivors came to Earth, Mi Young read aloud. They chose to forget their past, to start over as a simple people. They built machines to sleep in the void, waiting for the day when humanity would be ready to remember. Director Hansol nodded. There are hundreds of tablets like this. They all tell the same story. Humans are not from Earth. We're the children of an ancient space empire. Mi Young felt dizzy. But that's impossible. We have fossils showing human evolution on Earth. Do we? Or do we have fossils of the bodies our ancestors chose to live in when they came here? The director led her to another table. This one held a metal device that hummed with power. It looked like a helmet made of flowing silver. What is that? We think it's a memory storage device. When the Guardian structures woke up, this started working again. We need someone to try it. Mi Young backed away. That could be dangerous. Dr. O, the galaxy thinks we're primitives. They're planning to wipe us out. If there's something in our past that can help us, we need to know. Mi Young looked at the helmet again. It seemed to be calling to her. Like it was made for her specifically. She picked it up and put it on her head. The world exploded into light and memory. Across the galaxy, pilot Sung Ho Nam was about to have his own life-changing experience. He was stationed at a military base on Titan when the call came in. Nam, report to Hangar 7 immediately. Sung Ho had never been to Hangar 7. He was not sure it existed until today. But when he got there, he found something that took his breath away. The hangar was huge, bigger than any building he had ever seen, and floating in the center was a ship unlike anything humans had ever built. The ship was sleek and silver, shaped like a teardrop. It was about the size of a fighter, but it seemed to bend light around itself. Looking at it was like trying to look at water. Beautiful, isn't she? Said a voice behind him. Sung Ho turned around. A woman in a general's uniform was walking toward him. He had never seen her before, but somehow he knew she was important. General? General Yoon-suk Park. I'm in charge of special projects. That ship has been waiting for someone like you. Someone like me? Someone who can fly it. The ship chooses its own pilot. It chose you. Sung Ho walked closer to the ship. As he got near, a section of the hull became transparent. He could see the inside. There was only one seat, surrounded by controls that seemed to be made of pure light. How do I get in? Just touch it. Sung Ho reached out and pressed his hand against the hull. The metal felt warm, almost alive. A doorway opened without any sound. He climbed inside. The moment he sat in the pilot's seat, everything changed. Information flooded his mind. He suddenly knew how the ship worked, how to fly it, how to fight with it. The knowledge felt familiar, like remembering something he had always known, but forgotten. Systems online, said a voice in his head. Welcome back, pilot. Back? You have flown ships like this before. Not you personally, but your genetic line. The memory is in your blood. Meanwhile, Ambassador Ji Hoon-yoon was dealing with chaos at the Galactic Council. Representatives from dozens of worlds were shouting at each other. Everyone was scared and angry. Order! Order! Called the council leader. We must discuss this situation calmly. But there was nothing calm about the situation. The Guardian structures had appeared around every human world. Enemy fleets had been moved around like toys. The whole balance of power in the galaxy had changed overnight. "The humans have been lying to us for centuries," shouted the Vrex representative. "They pretended to be weak while building secret weapons." "We built nothing," Ji-hoon said calmly. "These structures are as much a surprise to us as they are to you." "Then where did they come from?" Ji-hoon had been asking himself the same question. The reports coming from Earth were impossible to believe. Ancient ruins that were suddenly active. Technology that was older than galactic civilization. Humans who could operate machines they had never seen before. "We are still investigating," he said. The Keth representative clicked angrily. "Your investigations mean nothing. Those structures could destroy every world in the galaxy." "But they haven't," Ji-hoon pointed out. "They moved your fleets away from human worlds, but they didn't hurt anyone. They could have destroyed every ship, but they chose not to." This was true, and it worried the aliens even more. An enemy who could kill you but chose not to was more frightening than one who simply tried to kill you. The council session continued for hours. Some species wanted to attack humanity before the Guardians got stronger. Others wanted to negotiate. A few wanted to run away from the galaxy entirely. Back on Earth, Mi Young-oh was experiencing 50,000 years of human history in the span of an hour. The memory helmet showed her everything. She saw the great human empire at its peak. Millions of worlds filled with people who could travel between stars as easily as walking across a room. They had technology that seemed like magic. They could create matter from energy. They could live forever if they chose. But they also saw the empire's end. A war with something from outside the galaxy. Something that fed on life itself. The humans fought bravely, but they could not win. The enemy was too strong, the memories told her, so the Empire chose a different strategy. They would hide. They would become small and weak. They would wait until the enemy moved on to other galaxies. The surviving humans came to Earth. They used their technology to change their own bodies, making themselves fit into Earth's ecosystem. They built the Guardian network and programmed it to sleep until humanity was ready. "Ready for what?" Mi Young asked. "To choose. To decide if you want to reclaim your birthright or remain as you are." The memories showed her the activation protocol. The Guardians would only wake up if humanity was threatened with extinction. They would protect human worlds and wait for orders. What kind of orders? That depends on what humanity chooses to become. Mi Young removed the helmet. Director Han Sol was waiting anxiously. "What did you see?" "The truth," she said quietly. "We're not from Earth. We're the descendants of a galactic empire that chose to forget itself. The Guardian structures are our inheritance." And now, Mi Young looked at the artifacts around the room. Each one told part of the same story. Humans were not the young species everyone thought they were. They were older than any other known civilization. Now we have to decide what to do with that knowledge. Pilot Sung-ho was learning to fly his new ship when the first combat alert came in. Alien forces were gathering at the edge of the solar system, not to attack but to watch. "They were trying to understand what they were dealing with, pilot," said the ship's voice in his head. "We are being scanned by multiple vessels. Do you wish to respond?" "What kind of response?" "We could show them what this ship is capable of. A demonstration might discourage future aggression." Sung-ho thought about it. The ship's weapons were beyond anything in the human fleet. Beyond anything the aliens had too. A single shot could destroy a moon. "Just a small demonstration," he said. The ship moved toward the alien fleet. It did not travel through normal space. Instead, it seemed to fold space around itself, appearing next to the alien ships instantly. The aliens panicked. Ships scattered in every direction. Some tried to fire their weapons, but the shots passed through the human ship like it was made of light. Sung-ho selected an empty area of space and fired once. The weapon created a brief star, burning bright enough to be seen from Earth. When the light faded, there was nothing left but empty space that glowed with strange colors. General Wu Jin Lim had been a soldier for 30 years. He thought he had seen every kind of weapon and technology the galaxy could offer. He was wrong. The call came from Earth's High Command at dawn. "General, report to the Jupiter Defense Station immediately." You're being given command of humanity's new military assets. Wu Jin had never heard of any new military assets. The human fleet was small and weak compared to the alien navies. But when his transport arrived at Jupiter, he saw something that changed everything. The Guardian structure orbiting Jupiter was opening. Sections of its hull were sliding apart like flower petals. Inside was a fleet of ships that should not have existed. There were hundreds of them. Each one was sleek and silver, designed with curves that hurt the eye to follow. They looked like they were built from liquid metal and starlight, and they were all powering up. "Sir," said his aide, Captain Yu Jin, "the station commander wants to see you immediately." The station commander turned out to be Engineer Tae-young Seo, the maintenance worker who had discovered the hidden control rooms, but he was different now. He moved with confidence and spoke with authority he had never had before. "General," Tae-young said, "welcome to the Defense Network Command Center. These are your ships." "My ships?" "The ancient humans left them for us. Each one is more powerful than anything currently in space. They're controlled by AI, but they need human commanders." Wu Jin looked at the display showing the fleet. The numbers were impossible. "How many ships are there?" "In this system alone, about 5,000. Each Guardian structure contains a full battle fleet." Wu Jin sat down heavily. 5,000 ships. How many Guardian structures are there? One for every human world, plus reserve fleets hidden in empty space. The total number is... Tae-young paused. "Large." Through the observation window, Wu Jin watched as the ships began to move. They flowed through space like schools of fish, graceful and deadly. Their movement was so perfect it seemed like a dance. "General," Tae-young continued, "I need to show you something else, something the analysis teams discovered." He led Wu Jin to another control room. This one had a massive holographic display showing the entire galaxy. Thousands of lights marked the positions of inhabited worlds. "The Guardian Network doesn't just protect human space," Tae-young explained. "It has been watching the entire galaxy for 50,000 years. The display zoomed in on different star systems. Each one showed detailed information about the planets, the species that lived there, their technology levels, their military capabilities. "We know everything," Tae-young said quietly. "Population numbers, fleet positions, weapon capabilities, political structures. The network has been cataloging everything for millennia." Wu Jin felt a chill run down his spine. Everything, every ship movement, every military buildup, every government decision that might affect galactic stability. The ancient humans were very thorough. On the diplomatic front, diplomat Yoonji Han was learning just how much fear the Guardian structures had created. She was meeting with representatives from the smaller alien species, the ones who had not been part of the hegemony's plan to eliminate humanity. "We want to apologize," said the Zalari ambassador. His species looked like tall, thin birds with blue feathers. "We knew what the hegemony was planning. We should have warned you." "Why didn't you?" Yoonji asked. "Because we thought you would lose quickly. We thought it would be over before it really started. We never imagined..." He gestured toward the window, where one of the Guardian structures was visible in the distance. "You never imagined we had defenses." "No one imagined anything like this. Those structures are using technology we don't understand. Our best scientists say the power systems alone are impossible." More alien representatives were arriving every hour. Species that had ignored humanity for centuries now wanted to establish diplomatic relations. They brought gifts and trade offers, and promises of friendship. But Yoonji knew it was fear, not friendship, that motivated them. "The Draken Empire wishes to offer a mutual defense treaty," said another ambassador. "The Sector Coalition wants to discuss trade agreements. The Free Worlds Alliance requests permission to establish embassies on human worlds." Each offer was more generous than the last. Species that had looked down on humanity now treated humans as equals, or more than equals. "What do they really want?" Yoonji asked her assistant when they had a moment alone. "They want to be on our side when this is over," the assistant replied. "They're betting that humanity is going to be the dominant power in the galaxy. Meanwhile, Researcher Chan Wu Bei was discovering just how advanced the Guardian network really was. He was working with a team of Earth's best scientists, trying to understand the technology behind the structures. The power systems are tapped directly into subspace, he reported to his colleagues. They're drawing energy from the quantum foam itself. Unlimited power. What about the weapons? Asked Dr. Min-Ho Park. Beyond anything we've seen. Each Guardian structure has enough firepower to reorganize a solar system. They could move planets, collapse stars, or create artificial black holes. The team worked in stunned silence. Humanity had gone from being one of the weakest species in the galaxy to potentially the strongest, all in the space of a few days. There's something else, Chan Wu said. The network isn't just defensive. It's been guiding galactic development for thousands of years. He showed them the data he had discovered. Small influences, a nudge here, a suggestion there. The network has been subtly encouraging the development of certain technologies while discouraging others. Encouraging what kind of technologies? Space, travel, communication systems, peaceful applications of energy. It's been trying to help the galaxy develop in positive directions. Dr. Park frowned. And discouraging what? Planet-killer weapons, biological warfare, technologies that could threaten entire star systems. Several species have tried to build such weapons over the centuries. They all failed due to technical difficulties or accidental discoveries that made the weapons impossible to complete. The implications were staggering. The Guardian network had been secretly protecting the entire galaxy from its own worst impulses. But not every species was grateful for the protection they had never known they were receiving. The Vrex hegemony was meeting an emergency session. Their attempt to eliminate humanity had failed completely. Now they faced an enemy that was clearly superior to them in every way. We must strike now before they become even stronger, argued war leader Zektor. Every day we wait, they discover more of their ancient weapons. Strike with what? Demanded Council leader Velthok. Our most powerful weapons couldn't scratch their shields. Our fleets were moved around like toys. Then we get more weapons, bigger fleets. From where? Every species in the galaxy is trying to make peace with the humans now. Half of our own allies have switched sides. This was true, and it made the hegemony leaders even more angry. The Keth had already sent envoys to Earth. The Morlans were offering to share their advanced medical technology. Even some Vrex colonies were questioning whether continuing the fight was wise. The humans claim they don't want to rule the galaxy, said Information Leader Check 9. Maybe we should listen to them. They're lying. Zektor slammed his fists on the table. No species gains that much power without using it to conquer others. It's impossible. But Check 9 had been studying human history and behavior. Actually, it's very possible. Humans have shown remarkable restraint for a species with their capabilities. They could have eliminated us when their defenses first activated. They chose not to. The debate continued for hours. Some wanted to keep fighting. Others wanted to negotiate. A few wanted to flee to another galaxy entirely. Finally, they reached a decision that would change everything. We will build the planet Cracker, Zektor announced. One weapon large enough to destroy entire star systems. If the humans want to protect their worlds, they will have to meet our demands. The planet Cracker was a theoretical weapon the Vrex had designed years ago. It had never been built because it was too dangerous. It could destroy the planet it was fired from as easily as its target. But desperate beings do desperate things. On Earth, President Si Jin Quan was receiving reports from around the galaxy. The news was both encouraging and worrying. 17 species have requested alliance treaties, reported Foreign Minister Da Yun Kim. 4 more want to establish permanent embassies. The Galactic Trade Council is offering humanity full membership with favorable terms. That's the good news, the president said. What's the bad news? Intelligence reports suggest the Vrex are building a new type of weapon, something called a planet Cracker. Our sources say it's designed to destroy entire star systems. Irritating. Quan felt tired. She had hoped the show of force from the Guardian structures would end the conflict. Instead, it seemed to be making some enemies more desperate. Can our defenses stop this planet Cracker? The Guardian network says yes, but it also says that using full defensive measures would be noticeable. What does that mean? It means the network would have to reveal its full capabilities. Right now, most species think the Guardian structures are just very advanced ships. They don't know the network extends throughout the galaxy. They don't know how much power it really has. The president understood. President Se-Jin Quan stood in the Situation Room watching the holographic display that showed the entire galaxy. Red dots marked hostile forces. Blue dots showed human worlds and friendly allies. And scattered throughout everything were the green dots that represented the Guardian network. "Madam President," said General Wu Jin Lim, "the Vrex planet cracker is fully operational. Intelligence reports they plan to fire it at Earth in 72 hours. One shot to destroy our entire solar system," added Admiral Hai-Jin Choi. Their message was clear: surrender or face extinction. Se-Jin looked at the advisors around the table. Each face showed the weight of the decision they all knew was coming. Humanity had tried to remain peaceful. They had offered negotiations, compromises, even tribute, but some enemies would never stop fighting. "What are our options?" she asked. "We can evacuate Earth and the other core worlds," suggested Defense Minister Kyung-Ho Lee. "Relocate to the outer colonies and continue from there." "That's not a solution," said Foreign Minister Da-Yun Kim. "They'll just build more planet crackers. Eventually they'll hunt down every human world." General Wu Jin cleared his throat. "The Guardian network has presented another option: full activation of the galactic defense grid." Everyone in the room went quiet. They all knew what that meant. "Explain it again," Se-Jin said. Tae-Young Seo, the engineer who had become humanity's link to the Guardian network, stepped forward. "The network isn't just around human worlds. Guardian structures exist in every star system in the galaxy. They've been hidden in dimensional folds for 50,000 years, waiting." "How many structures?" Se-Jin asked, though she dreaded the answer. 100,000, each one more powerful than the structures currently protecting Earth. The number hung in the air like a physical weight. 100,000 superweapons, all under human control. "If we activate them all," Tae-Young continued, "every hostile force in the galaxy will be neutralized simultaneously. No more threats to human worlds, no more planet crackers, no more war. And the cost? The galaxy will know exactly what humanity is capable of. There will be no more pretending we're just another young species." Fleet Commander Jae-Min Ryu spoke up from the display screen. He was commanding the newly awakened human fleet at the edge of the solar system. "Madam President, my ships are ready. We can intercept the planet cracker before it fires. Can you destroy it?" "Yes, but doing so will require weapons that exist partially outside normal space-time. The entire galaxy will see the energy signatures. They'll know we have technology beyond anything they imagined." Se-Jin closed her eyes. Every choice led to the same result. Humanity could no longer hide what it was. "There's something else," said philosopher Ye-Jin Shin, the newest member of the Advisory Council. "The Guardian network has been running scenarios for decades. It knows what will happen if we reveal our full power." "What will happen?" "Some species will surrender immediately. Others will try to flee the galaxy. A few might attempt suicide attacks before we can stop them. But overall, galactic conflict will decrease by 97%. Because everyone will be too scared to fight? Because everyone will know that someone is watching. Someone with the power to stop wars before they start." The room fell silent again. Se-Jin walked to the window and looked up at the Guardian structure floating above Earth. It had been there for only a few days, but already it felt like a permanent part of the sky. "The ancient humans faced this same choice," she said quietly. "They chose to hide, to let their empire fall rather than use their full power. And their empire fell because they were fighting something from outside the galaxy," Ye-Jin replied. "Something that fed on life itself. That threat is gone now, has been gone for 40,000 years." Se-Jin turned back to her advisors. "If we do this, if we activate the full network, what happens to us? What do we become?" Tae-Young consulted. the data flowing through his neural link to the Guardian system. We become what we were always meant to be, the protectors of galactic civilization, the guardians who watch from the shadows and prevent disasters before they happen. And if we choose not to activate the network, then we fight the Vrex with our current resources. We win because our technology is superior, but more planet crackers will be built, more enemies will rise. The cycle of violence continues. The president sat down and closed her eyes. The weight of 50,000 years of human history pressed down on her shoulders. The choice wasn't just about stopping one weapon. It was about choosing humanity's role in the galaxy for centuries to come. I need to speak with the Guardian Network directly, she said. Tae Young nodded and activated the communication system. The familiar voice filled the room, calm and ancient and patient. Greetings, President Kwon. We have been waiting for your decision. If I activate the full network, what guarantee do I have that humanity won't become tyrants? That we won't use this power to conquer rather than protect? You have the same guarantee your ancestors had. Your own nature. Humanity chose to diminish itself rather than rule through fear. That same wisdom flows in your blood. But power changes people. Yes. It reveals who they truly are. Your species has been tested many times throughout history. You have consistently chosen compassion over conquest, protection over domination. This is why the network will only respond to human commands. Sijin looked around the table at her advisors. These were good people who had dedicated their lives to serving humanity's best interests. She trusted them with this decision. Vote, she said simply. Full activation or limited response? The vote was unanimous. Full activation. Guardian Network, Sijin said. Activate all defensive systems. Protect all inhabited worlds from aggression. Neutralize the planet cracker and any similar weapons. Establish galactic peace. Acknowledged. Beginning full activation sequence. Across the galaxy, space began to change. In star systems that had been empty, massive structures phased into reality. Around every inhabited world, Guardian stations took up defensive positions. The network that had slept for millennia awakened, all at once. On the Vrex homeworld, war leader Zektor watched in horror as 5 Guardian structures appeared around his planet. His planet cracker, the weapon that was supposed to destroy Earth, simply stopped working. Its power core went dark. Its targeting systems failed. Its destructive potential vanished like smoke. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. Weapons of mass destruction shut down. Military fleets found themselves unable to target civilian populations. Pirate raiders discovered their ships would no longer respond to aggressive orders. The galaxy's communications networks carried the same message. To every world simultaneously. Attention, citizens of the galaxy. The Human Defense Network is now fully operational. Aggressive warfare has been suspended indefinitely. All inhabited worlds are under protection. Any attempt to harm civilian populations will be prevented. This is not conquest. This is guardianship. Peaceful coexistence is now mandatory. Commander Jaemin Ryu watched from his flagship as the Vrex planet cracker drifted powerless through space. His orders had been simple: destroy the weapon if necessary. But the Guardian Network had found a more elegant solution. The weapon still existed, but it could never be used to harm anyone. Sir, said his tactical officer, we're receiving surrender signals from the entire Vrex fleet. Jaemin nodded. It was over. The war that had threatened to destroy humanity had ended without a single shot being fired. Back on Earth, President Se-Jin Kwan addressed the planet and the galaxy. To the people of Earth and all human worlds, today, we have accepted our true heritage. We are the children of an ancient civilization that chose wisdom over power. We carry that wisdom forward. To the species of the galaxy, we do not seek to rule you. We seek to protect all life from the forces that would destroy it. Your governments remain your own. Your cultures remain your own. Your freedom remains your own. But your safety is now our responsibility. The Guardian Network will prevent wars between worlds. It will stop weapons of mass destruction. It will protect the innocent from those who would harm them. This is not tyranny. This is the promise our ancestors made 50,000 years ago. The response was immediate and overwhelming. On the Keth homeworld, celebrations erupted as centuries of fear about Galactic War finally ended. The Morlans sent messages of gratitude, knowing their peaceful nature was now protected. Even former enemies like the Draken Empire acknowledged the wisdom of the new order. But the most surprising response came from the Vreks themselves. Zektor, the war leader who had pushed for humanity's destruction, sent a personal message to President Quan. "We have lived in fear for so long that we forgot what peace felt like. You have given us something we never knew we wanted. The Vreks submit to human guardianship and offer our knowledge in service to galactic stability." In the months that followed, the galaxy settled into its new reality. Trade flourished as piracy became impossible. Scientific collaboration increased as species no longer feared sharing their discoveries. Art and culture spread freely as the fear of conquest faded. But the most remarkable change was in humanity itself. Dr. Somin Park, the archaeologist who had first discovered the glowing ruins on Mars, found herself appointed as the director of Galactic Archaeological Studies.